Okay, up next we have a... I almost said a remix. I'm used to announcing music, and I almost said a remix, but it is kind of a remix. Up next we have a run of Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Randomizer by Crim. Crim, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you once again. Glad to be back for a second run. This is the next Final Fantasy in the series, but this is not the standard Final Fantasy IV. It is going to be Free Enterprise, which is a randomizer created by Boardface. Basically gives you the Enterprise airship at the beginning of the game, which opens up your world immediately, and it is a scavenger hunt for specific key items to help you progress. Just a few things that I will go over with the flag set. You'll see a bunch of characters on screen, which probably mean nothing to most of you unless you're familiar with the randomizer. But a few of the things is I am playing a variant. Normally you need the crystal to morph Zeramis at the end of the game. Well, this you need to collect the adamant and the legend sword in order to even get the crystal. So we'll be looking for that. And we'll also have additional items to look for key items. But I'll go over that as I'm playing through, maybe checking some of these places. So yeah, why don't we just get started? My starting character, as you can see, is Palom. So we will go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So the first thing that happens in Free Enterprise is your character, which in this case it is Palom, will meet a secondary character. This is your Kane and Cecil. Instead, I get Edward. Everyone loves Edward. And Bahamut is giving me the Magma Key, which is nice because it does give me access to the underworld whenever I need it. Which is where a lot of items normally hide out, so we will eventually go there, but we have a few stops that we are going to make on the overworld. Standard routing and everything, there are a few places that I will check first. Now, I am playing with the flag called No Free Lunch. There are many places in the randomizer where you can get like free characters or free items. No Free Lunch turns that all off. You actually have to work for anything that you get, so I will not be able to go to the Underground Pass and get a free character or stuff like that. So instead, I will just be going through Baron. I will be checking a few chests and everything for some items. The Rune Axe is really nice, actually, to start out, as long as I get a character that can use it. And, well, there's that character because we have Sid. Some actually really good items to start out here, which we will use in a little bit, but... definitely time saved to wait for a little bit before you end up equipping anything. So nothing there really interests me in terms of the shop, so we won't go ahead and buy anything. We won't actually ever return to that shop. But I am looking for a few items that will help out my progression a little bit as we go on in the seed. Baron is usually one of the areas where I check all the spots, especially on a T3 flag where you can get some pretty good items here. I am also playing with, as I run around in the water there for a little bit, I am playing with Japanese items, which if you've only played the US version may seem a little odd because you may not know what they do, but they basically give you a lot of access to spells through items rather than just using characters for those spells. So you may see me use a few in the run at some point. I don't overly rely on them, but I do use them depending on what I run into. I do just take a quick stop in this town just to do a little pillaging. Just a lot of money amiss, so nothing much so far. Rune Ring is actually really nice, especially for a mage early on. Some of the things that I do look for early is anything that can help my character succeed, especially two characters such as Palom and Edward, where I'm not going to have a lot of firepower early on. Anything that can help me get through some of these battles that I will be encountering will help me. So arrows, Dancing Dagger, anything like that will help. I typically don't do anything in Typo because there's just one item there. I could technically check the item shop, but I'll normally do that later. But Damsayan actually has a good looting spot too, and I will also unearth the hovercraft, which we may eventually need once we get the hook. So far, just a lot of money. So money's good. It allows me to shop. So is crystal armor because that's guaranteed a lot of money. But once we open up the hook, we're going to be starting a few of our checks to help us progress through here. We're going to be visiting Mount Hobbs, where we will actually get a character. We will also have a boss fight there. And then we will be going into the Antline Cave for our, technically our second free item, because our first free item was that, first key item was that magma key that we got from Bahamut to start the seed. So as you can see, compared to typical Final Fantasy IV, typical any Final Fantasy, this is a lot more open. I can check a lot more early on rather than just being held to the linear... I guess I should go to Mount Hobbs first. But instead of being held to the linear storyline where, you know, you start out, you go to Mist, you go from Mist and continue on to Mount Hobbs and then... Fabul and Memicidia and all that. This is a lot more open, even though because of how characters are replaced, we do actually tend to stick to sort of the similar route at the beginning. And King Queen Evelyn is actually a really fun fight because they have a special win condition where if you just let them attack you long enough, they will actually just kill themselves. We'll attack it just see if we can't take one of them out, but yeah, pretty much an easy fight. And I will equip Yang with his even though yeah, King Evelyn's actually doing some damage with his fire, so Palom is not going to get any experience from this fight. I'm actually a little surprised at the amount of damage that they're doing, but yeah, here they become conscious, so all they'll do after this is just kill themselves, basically realizing that they've been possessed, and the only way is to end things themselves. So for all intents and purposes, it is definitely a free fight. And of course, we get a good amount of levels there. Palom is down for the count, but we got Yang, which is definitely helpful. Yang will be a good damage dealer to have early on. Yang will be one of those characters I probably will keep throughout the entire race, or entire run. Normally these are races, but in the entire run, just because he does do a lot of damage, especially at a higher level. So I will finally visit Typo just because I need to heal anyway. So there's only a few things I check in Typo. One is whatever the inn shop has here. Hourglass, silk webs. Some of them are nice, so see what we can sell here. We can go ahead and we'll get rid of the crystal armor. The Lilith Rod is actually really nice. Both the shurikens, the whip, we can get rid of. Everything else I think we'll keep for now. And we'll go ahead and we'll buy 5 hourglasses, 5 silk webs, 5 bacchuses, and 3 stardust. We're good with that. And now we'll heal. So basically those items all do different things, and as I said, a lot of these items are not in the normal Final Fantasy IV US version. Bacchuses will actually give me a Berserk status, which is actually very helpful because it does raise the speed at which a character can execute commands, and it will also raise their attack, so it definitely does help. Silk Webs cast basically the ultimate slow, and we have Rosa here, so that's really nice if we get the Sand Ruby. But we will get the ultimate slow from the Silk Web, which also helps on Zeramis. Hourglasses actually stop enemies, which if we do a lot of searching of chests and we hit a trap chest, we can definitely use it there. So a lot of good things. And then Stardust will cast basically a Comet spell, which is normally attributed to the twin from Porum and Palom, but another nice damaging move there. So a good amount of things. Guide Drum's another good one there with its ability to cast Quake. really early on, you are looking for powerful spells that can help wipe out enemies because it can help expedite battles a lot. So we have a few more chests that we are going to check here that are a little out of the way. Here, normally you get a harp for Edward, but, well, we get a whistle. We will sell that because that is good money. And then up here, where speedrunners never go, there are 3 chests up here that in this save room that are actually usually beneficial. Grimoire is another good item because that gives us a random summon. Not good if you get Odin or Chocobo as your summon, but typically a good item. So one thing I am going to do here now that I have the Lilith Rod and Yang, I am going to go ahead and equip some items just to help out a little bit with my battles. I could have actually done that earlier. Actually, no, you still have the harp, so we'll keep you up there and put you there. And Antline's boss will be replaced with something else because it can be any boss in the game. That's one of the flags that we have on, and we're either going to fight Mylon or Mylon Z here. And we got Mylon Z. So bosses will keep all their movesets and everything else, their standard AI, but instead of encountering Mylon Z like we would on Mount Ordeals, he actually has all the statistics of the antlion in this spot. So he is not nearly as dangerous as he would normally be. Now he will hit hard whenever he hits, but typically not that fast, so I'm not too worried. Still does get the poison proc off on Edward because why not? So we will get to hear a nice little melody running out of Antlion Cave. But simple enough, and we will get our second item here. As well as a few levels. Palom learning another spell, which is always nice. Second level spells definitely are an upgrade. And there's our Sand Ruby. So we will get Rosa. I will actually go and pick her up right away. But enjoy hearing the lovely sounds of poison on the whole run out of here.
We have some time for a quick donation.
Absolutely.
We have $50 from Space 006, making good on my UN Squadron promise. Absolutely worth it for the worthy cause. Thank you very much, 006. Great run.
So a little more poison antics here before we get to... we're not going to bother stopping at the end because once we get Rosa, we will be fine, so... Oops, how about we use the Sand Ruby? This is probably one of the simplest things in a no free lunch is once you get the Sand Ruby, this is pretty much free. So it's a no-brainer, especially when it's a good character like Rosa. Rosa is the ultimate white mage who can also use arrows, so beneficial, but it also gives us a free heal, so hey, a lot of birds killed with one stone there, or one ruby, I guess. So our next stop will be over in Fabul. Another key item can be gotten here. We do have the normal gauntlet spot, but it is not nearly as bad because we're not doing the gauntlet. Well, we hope not, because otherwise that would be vanilla and that wouldn't be any fun. There are a few shops we will hit on our way out. But first we're going to talk to the king and we are going to help him defend Fabul. Now the nice thing is we can normally see what bosses we're going to get beforehand. This is going to be Octomom, so a lot of fun with this one. Octomom typically is a really fast boss, but not as bad in this situation because it is a slightly slower spot. But on top of that, Octomom is also nice in this spot because, well, as we hit Octomom over and over and over again, he will slow down drastically, so we don't have to worry about too many hits. Definitely weak to lightning, so we should be okay for sure on this battle, even though he does hit kind of hard. Yeah, except when he takes Rosa out. So we're just not going to get any experience for Rosa here. But this next lit should take him out. Or maybe not. Guess I didn't do as much damage to him as I initially thought. So, okay, a few more hits. Apparently, Octomom just wanted to lose all of his tentacles before finally going away, so. More levels for those characters. Unfortunately, Rosa did not get anything, but Palin got a few more spells, which will definitely help us. And now we are going to get our third key item. And the king is going to give us Excalibur. So normally, when you forge the Adamant and the Legend Sword together, Excalibur is what you get. And since we're getting the crystal from that in this game, well, Excalibur replaces the crystal, so that's what we got instead. We did get a free heal again from the king, so we don't have to worry about any of that. So we are just going to go ahead, exit, and technically the next spot throughout the speedrun would be Mount Ordeals, but I tend to find actually going to Baron Inn for the battle there is a little easier, so we are going to do that first. Now we do know the first battle here is going to be Dark Knight Cecil, which is another one of those basically free battles. Now we do have to keep an eye on our experience, our HP as we go, because we do have a battle right after, and we don't want to be too HP depleted from Dark Knight Cecil's Dark Knight attacks. But basically what it is as long as you don't attack Dark Knight Cecil, and wow, he is doing a lot of damage, so we are going to need to be very careful with this. Let's see. Gonna keep Rosa healthy. Or we're not going to keep Rosa healthy because she's gonna die. And we just lost that, so yeah. So we're gonna get through it. Yang is going to be able to res one character with that life, but Cecil will go ahead and just disappear after giving his little speech, and Yang will gain a level and hopefully be able to I should have saved because we have Valis. And this is going to be a little bit of fun. So we are going to hope that this Gaia Drum is able to hit Valis. And let's see what else we can do. We're going to still life Rosa. Just hopefully to keep someone alive here. And let's elixir Yang. And Rosa is down, so Yang was the right choice there. He did get another week, so we might be in trouble here. We might be starting over, but that's actually okay because we have a lot of information. So, like, I won't have to go back to Fabul or anything. Yeah. So we're just going to take a quick reset here. And go through the whole sequence again. But knowing what we do know with where items are at, that's the important thing. So we can actually just go ahead and progress to other parts. Knowing that Valis is in the location she's at right after Dark Knight Cecil, who's actually very powerful, we are going to avoid Baron Inn to begin. Luckily, there aren't massive cutscenes like Final Fantasy III that we have to worry about. So I would say all in all, maybe that death lost about 5 or 6 minutes, but I can go back, I can get Yang, I can get Rosa, and I think my next move will actually be to go to the underground. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to go ahead and grab a few items here from Mist and the like. So there's a mantra that you should always save before any battles, and well, that's exactly why. But as I said, no big deal. We'll be able to recoup that time very, very quickly. Go ahead, go up and get Yang again. We will save though, just to have that little bit done. And I will go back into Baron eventually and grab all the items. Everyone's attacking Yang. And once again, Palom decides to take a little nap. And there we go. Normally they'll actually talk before they disappear, but there's no need for that. So we have Yang back. We're going to go back to Baron now to get some of the items, including the Poison Claws and the bandana for Yang. We're also going to go ahead and rest before we do Antlion's Cave again to get Rosa. We are going to skip Fabul. We do not need Excalibur right now. We know it's there for later if we absolutely need it. But after we do all this, we are actually probably going to search out some of ordeals just to see what the bosses are there. Well, it'd be great to have Sid for it. We do not absolutely need him. Ordeals actually plays a key point in the plot of the game, but it also does a lot for the randomizer. If you're carrying Cecil or Tella, it does go ahead and give you the ability to access like the good version of Cecil, which is Paladin Cecil, or have Tella learn all of his spells. So definitely a useful area to hit in the randomizer, especially if you're playing with a flag such as C3 where you only get 5 specific characters throughout the run. This is not C3, so we won't have that to deal with. I'm not going to bother going back to Damsian at this moment. Even though there are some good items there, it's not worth actually going back and spending the time, so we won't bother right now. we'll just run back through and get these items. And eventually we will also go back and do a little shopping as well. Typo, we know, has some good items, so we will go ahead and sell some stuff there. Alright, so once again we are going to go ahead and do all of our equipping. Bandana, give... I never healed. We can get around that though. That's not going to be of any use on you, so we'll give you the headband. Give you a little bit extra. And... we'll just go ahead and cure 3 you. Yang should be able to take care of most of this fight for us. And I'm not too worried because my Lungi did not do too much damage here against us. Gives us a little ravine speech even though we are in the cave. You will see the can't run message come up quite a bit throughout the run. What that is it's called a run buffer, and it will actually allow me to go ahead and select inputs while actually stopping the active time of the bosses and sometimes the characters. And it will allow me to get in a few more attacks to the bosses before they actually attack anything. So there we have Edward finally being useful, taking out my Lungi, and not being poisoned this time, so we don't have to worry about that. But we can go back and get Rosa, and then I believe we will go to Ordeals, just to get a few more levels, and then we will probably peek our heads underground. Now, the nice thing about the free Enterprise Randomizer is there is a lot of different flags that you can use to make this either a lot more friendly or a lot more difficult than it is. Oh, we wanted to go get Rosa. So it definitely has playability for all skill levels, whether you're familiar with Final Fantasy IV or not. You can have all the shops be free. You can have a lot of great items be available to you almost immediately. So definitely something to try. No matter what your experience level is, it's definitely a fun randomizer to play. So we are going to get Rosa back. We're going to get our free heal, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we're going to go ahead and do some of our shopping again to get some of those items that will help us out, such as the Stardust, the Hourglasses, etc. So let's go ahead and sell the leather, sell the whistle. We did not actually get the crystal, so we don't have that yet. So we'll have to be a little more selective in our purchases. But we will buy some silk web, some hourglass, and yeah, we'll just leave it at that for now. We can always come back if we need to. So once again, we are actually going to flip Rosa and Edward. And I parked on the other side. Always remember which lot you park your vehicle in. It will definitely help you out later on. And to ordeals we go. Now I will save outside of ordeals here, even though I will save at the top of ordeals. Just because the climb is annoying, so if you can save right before the bosses, why not? Luckily, Valis is actually one of the worst bosses to encounter up here, so luckily we already know we will not encounter her at all. You also know if you played any of the updated versions of this game, a lot of the names have changed, like Mylon and Valis are not actually Mylon and Valis anymore. It's Scarmiglione and Barbaricia, but we are going to go ahead and save here and see who we get first. And we get Lungi, which is actually a fun, interesting two-part battle. He first starts with Balnab, his little creation. Now when you have multiple bosses appear in an area like this, you will also have the possibility that their HPs are not as high because they get that shared HP pool. Now their HP is still going to be pretty decent here because this is where you fight Mylon and his 4 lackeys. So and of course, Balnab misses Dr. Lungi. Normally he'll attack him on his first attack, which is nice for the little extra damage. I am kind of trying to balance the damage between the two a little bit, just so Dr. Lungi actually does not possess Balnab, because then it just adds another part to the, yeah. And he's going to anyway, so we get the other part to the battle. Which, in this, if any boss comes back in a different state, they always just add Z to the end. Convenient naming convention, I guess. So that's part 1 of the battle. We will immediately go into part 2, which is just Lungi himself before he transforms. Guessing all the characters. When he transforms, he will also use poison, so that's to be expected. Beam is an interesting move because there's actually a lot of moves like it in this game, where it will actually do a percentage of your HP. Well, this beam, I guess, isn't. But a lot of moves will actually do a percentage of your HP, so really interesting to see. But we're going to start getting our damages by poison here, which is not good because, first of all, it takes a lot of time for that message to pop up. Second of all, we're already a little weak on HP, so we might actually have to leave ordeals and come back. But we'll see if that cure will help us out at all. Maybe. So it looks like that first beam is only doing 10% of our damage, so that's nice. But this is just more a long battle right now because the damage output is kind of low on my characters. Yeah, okay, the laser is a little more... So, yeah, we're down to just Yang now. And of course, he takes the gas, and that is why we saved. Oh, beam actually helped us, so emission won't. Emission is another one of those that will do a percentage, so we will try this again. Let's see. I think first we'll actually just go ahead and use one of those items that we grabbed. We'll see if the Grimoire can help us out at all. Leviathan is a good summon to get, because that will immediately end that first part. And then we'll just go ahead and do the same here. We'll just use the guide drum, and that should help us get through this fight fairly easily. Yeah, there we go. It's a lot better that time around. Now, naturally, we will go back and save, as well as flip our characters, because, well, it's something good to do with the upcoming fight being a back attack. Normally, Mylon Z's here, giving us the fall flat into the deep ravine, but instead we get Kainazo. So he's gathering the water. Kainazo's a little interesting because he is weak to ice when he doesn't have the water around him, but when he does, he is actually weak to lightning, and that will actually cause his water to recede. So we're hoping that we can get the lit one off before his water recedes. We also want to try to do it before he uses wave, but we didn't, so we'll see if we can take care of him here. Lit Bolt will luckily get the water away, but Lit Bolt is based off of the character who's just using its current HP. So, yeah. Let's see if we have anything else. We'll slow him down a little bit, and hopefully Yang can do a little bit more. Otherwise, we'll just have to take another reset, and, well, that just happens in this game a lot. Yeah, so I think I'm going to take another reset here, just to make this a little faster. And we'll go ahead and try again. We'll try to get, in fact, we'll go ahead and move some of these around, just so we can try to get our characters into different positioning for this. Edward is down, and we don't care. And we did get the lid off, so that is much better now. He still did get the wave off, which is very unfortunate, though. Did attack Yang, which we definitely wanted. Okay, so we scared the lit from him again. Hopefully he does not use wave this time. And he still did. So Rosa is probably down at... Oh, she is still up. So we'll see if we can manage to... get rid of Kainazo before we take another death, and it does not look that way. So, we are going to go elsewhere. We are going underground. I could possibly grind out a few fights there and attempt to take him out again, but I would rather go somewhere where I can sort of get a little more progression here. So, we will go ahead and do that. So first things first, we do got to drop the magma key here. This will give us access to the underworld. Then we will take a peek in the item shop, see if there's anything good for us there. Okay, so we got some lives. That will definitely help, and I am actually going to buy a few lip bolts too, just to have. Now that we have access to the underground, we can check out a few more areas that will possibly give us a few more good items and ability to look elsewhere. Some of the other things that we are looking for is things like sirens and coffins that will help out our ability to level a lot more efficiently and make the seat a lot easier. So we're going to check in town right here. There are a few chests we can open up, and then we're going to go ahead and head into the land of the summoned monsters. So Land of the Summoned Monsters does have a floor that actually damages you with every step you take. So what we're going to do here is we're going to save, because there is one trapped chest in here that we do not want to encounter. Once we see it, we will know where it is, and we can reset if needed. If I get too far in, especially with those two items early on, sometimes I'll just opt to not check any more chests. So I may do that right here, just advance to the second part of the Land of the Summoned Monsters where we don't have to worry about encounters. So we do get one key item here, and that is going to be the Murasame. So it's not actually a key item, it is a good item if we find Edge. And we're going to go ahead and sell the crystal armor and also the ogre axe, because they sell for a lot of good money. We don't have anything here worth buying, so we're not going to bother. There's two more chests to get here. So we actually have some decent stuff for Rosa now with the heroine garb and the tiara, and we'll just wait for this guy to move out of our way to get the last of the items here. Another poison claw for Yang is definitely nice, want to do that. We want to exit. So we will go ahead and go to Dwarf Castle. A few places to look here. Item shop definitely, but a few places to loot as well. Push Yang, hope that he brings us some of his luck. And we got some sirens, which is definitely a good thing. So we will go ahead and buy some of those. And what that will do is that will give us access to actually some battles that we can grind out quickly to gain some levels. And that will help us get through these some of these battles a lot quicker. Dancing Dagger is wonderful, especially when you have a otherwise useless bard. Exit and go to the other side here. And then we're going to go ahead and equip our characters with stuff. And Catfall is actually really good. And hope that we can get at least a few levels here from these dragons. We do have Medusa arrows, which definitely helps that cause very, very much. So back down into the armor weapon shop. Wait for Luca to get out of the way, and we're gonna go do some omelet making with our eggs down here. So I won't be doing many just because it would take a while with everything, but having the Medusa arrows definitely helps. So we will go ahead and equip those here on Rosa. And actually 20 of them is more than I thought I had, so that definitely helps. So we'll go ahead and move that up to the top. We'll move the dragon down. And basically what the sirens do, another Japanese item, they bring the most difficult battle. They summon the most difficult battle. And of course that did not work, so we are going to have to Hourglass. Because otherwise we'd be dead. Like that. Yeah, you just keep doing that. So this will take a little bit. The yellow dragons have 1800 HP. Medusa arrows can sometimes turn them in stone just like that, and that's what we hope for. Because that's a lot of levels. And that will definitely help us out. Especially gaining Virus. Virus is one of those good one of those very good black magics to have for early game stuff. So we are also going to equip Rosa with some other stuff here, as well as Palom to help increase his output. Edward is still someone we don't really care too much about, so we're not going to do much for him. And of course, did not turn to stone again, so we will have to use another Hourglass here. And of course, turns to stone. So that's 2 down. We'll probably do 1 more here. Quake definitely is a spell that we want to help make our life a lot easier. So we'll go ahead and heal a little bit more. And we'll actually try hatching the dragon first. And then hope that the arrow immediately changes it to stone. And of course it does not. We take a thunder here. Take another thunder, which is a little more scary now, but we should be okay. Oops. Oh, not lit. Okay, so we're gonna life Edward and Yang here quick. Yeah, you can go hide.
TGE says to remind you to save.
Yeah, thanks. Alright. So we got a little more healing in. So our next adventure is going to be to go recruit Sid finally. Basically with all this, having Sid is definitely going to help us in a little bit, so we will go ahead and do that as long as we can get through Valis. I mean, Valis still may be a little bit of a taunt at this point, so we will see. But Dark Knight Cecil should be a little more friendly for us. Okay, so we'll put our cat claw on. Apparently I didn't equip quite a bit of stuff, so this will definitely help having the better stuff equipped. One. 2. We'll heal, and then we'll be in pretty good shape for Valis. Most annoying thing about this fight is it's supposed to be a free fight, so there's actually a lot of HP at this position, and it doesn't actually net you any experience at all. But yeah, we're in a lot better position there, so we're gonna have Sid now, so our ability to fight things is going to be a lot better. And we get a rat tail. Rat tail, once we get the hook, will give us another item, so that's kind of nice. But our next step is actually going to be diving back underground soon. We're going to go ahead and take a look to see if we can't do the wonderful battle with whatever replaced the Dancing Calcabranda dolls. So as TG requested, we will save. We will also equip. Go ahead and give Sid something, anything. Not the Cursed, but the Rune Axe will be very nice for him. And it is time for Edward to have the Dancing Dagger. And save again for good measure. And we see the Dark Elf jumping around back there. Fortunately, not much holy stuff right now would make the battle a lot quicker. So would Kane, but that's you take what you can get. Luckily, when you hit like that with arrows, there's not too much to be concerned about. Especially when you get that type of damage done to you. So I think we should be in okay shape here. So he's going to change into the Dark Dragon. And won't last long. We'll do quite a bit with that punch though. But Quake makes quick work of the dragon, just like it does of almost anything. And we will get a character finally to replace Edward. And we'll also see who we get to battle in Golbez's spot. And we get a lunar creature. So we'll see who it is in a little bit. And we get Fusoya. So if there's any upgrade you can get, well, Fusoya is definitely one. And we have the D-Lunars. So actually, D-Lunars are an interesting battle here because basically you do not want to hit them with an attack. If you do, they will reflect themselves and start pelting you with nasty viruses. So we're just going to go ahead and hit them with magic, such as Fusoya's nuke, which will completely destroy one of them. And Palom's Quake should take down the other. So not a difficult battle. Now Fusoya is also an interesting character because I have a Flygon called Fusoya, and it is Fusoya 2. So basically what will happen is Fusoya will start out with 500 HP and a very limited number of spells. And for each boss you complete, Fusoya will actually gain 100 HP up to 1900 and 3 spells. And once he gets up to 1900 HP, his spell list will actually also be completed. So it's a very interesting flag because Fusoya is a broken character at full power. So it is a nice way to balance him out early game. Now, if we were playing with glitches, which we are not, we would also be able to skip to another key item here by using Warp to get to the sealed cave item, but we are not using glitches, so that will not do anything. So we are instead just going to get one key item here from Luca, and we will see what that is in just a second, and it is the Twin Harp. Now I know if TGE is watching the stream, he is extremely happy right now because I have very limited spaces I can go, and the Twin Harp is one of his favorite things because, well, normally Edward will play a little ballad for us with the Twin Harp, but in this game, well, the Twin Harp does something else. Well, it still plays a ballad, but we don't know what that ballad is, so we may see that here in a little bit. But first, we're going to play a little game called Doppelganger. Typically here in this area, you will see Yang basically being nursed back to health by the Sylph Fairies. So the fact that Yang is in my party and he will be seeing himself, we call that the doppelganger. Now, if we had the pan, we would be also able to also smack Yang with it, which would give us a few more key items, but that's only one. But this will give us the opportunity when we go back up to the top to talk to Sheila and hopefully get one of our key items. Now, remember, we are looking for 2 key items here. We were looking for the Adamant and the Legend Sword, so we still do have a little bit to go. I just do have to be careful here in Fabul, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to actually go through and do the Fabul Gauntlet. Now, because we have Sid and Yang, one interesting thing about them is they both have, oh, well, there's some coffins, so that's very nice. Sid and Yang both have a high pool of HP, and we've already seen Cure 3s, so we may consider just running with the party that we have, and no, we don't want to do that. We may consider running with the party that we have all the way up to Zeramis, which actually would not be the worst thing. We have White Mage and 2 other mages, so it could make for an interesting battle. We would use Reflect spells and everything else. And all we get is a glass helmet, so not the best item in the world there. Actually, not a great item at all. Glass helmet is exactly what it sounds like, except it's exactly the opposite of what you would think. Glass helmet actually protects great against physical, it's just magical. It has no magical defense at all. So we will now go ahead and go to over to Troya, and there are a few places to check here. We will go ahead and check the items. But the important thing is we're going to go ahead and check out the Twin Harp here in hopes that it gives us something and not nothing, because it does take a little bit to get to. Now, if I can sell some stuff, there's Moon Veils, and Moon Veils are probably the best item in the game, at least in terms of Japanese items, because it casts Mirror, and it also gives you such a high physical evade that you can evade almost any attack. Get rid of the Cursed, we'll get rid of the Bard, the Glass is fine, Ruby Ring, Headband, the Ninja, the Flame, the Wood and the Rod, and that's good. That gives us 10 Moon Veils, and a bunch of Cure 2s, so we'll be good there. Now, the fact that we do have Nuke on Fasoya and Quake on Palom, I'm not too concerned about. Actually, I don't want to get into the airship. I'm not too concerned about buying Gaia Drums at this point, just because I do have the magic through some of my casters. So it's not really as pertinent to grab them. Now, here I have to grab a Black Chocobo. This is actually part of the regular game too. You have to catch one of these obnoxious Black Chocobos because they like to run away from you. So you can fly over in front of Cave Magnus. Now, that little noise means that a magnetic field's in effect, and if your characters are wearing any magnetic armor, what that will do is that will actually paralyze them. They won't be able to attack. It is actually a strategy used in the speedrun. By equipping all your characters with metallic items, it actually ends the first part of the battle quickly, which is exactly what you want. I'm not going to bother seeing that because I don't know if I have enough metallic items, so we'll just go with what we have. And if we do need to, we can temporarily knock ourselves out because, well, the first part of the battle doesn't matter. Go ahead and get that, even though it's only 160 GP, not really worth it. One more item here, which we're just going to walk across the gap. It's just a nice little jump. Now, luckily, we are pretty down there, so I think I can actually nuke Hafusoya, nuke himself, Palom go ahead and fires himself, and we're good to go. Battle ends without having to wait for Dark Elf to do all of his attacks. And now everyone's favorite part, we're going to get to name that tune. I know Dorkmaster and Bond are over there on the headset, so they will get to hear the interesting tune as well. And we got some Final Fantasy VIII for you guys, some blue fields. Apparently the Alpha is not a fan of Final Fantasy VIII, so we're not going to see him play any Final Fantasy VIII. We're just instead going to see him transform into a completely different enemy. And it is, well, the evil wall. Now, the big thing about this battle is this area is actually still a very high magical defense area, so magic is pretty useless. I may try a nuke. Fusoya might be at the point where he can actually still nuke the evil wall and not have too much difficulty here. But typically, physical attacks are the way to go. Okay, yeah, we got good damage from the nuke, so no big deal. Now, what we really want to see is exit from Fusoya, and of course, he didn't. So hopefully, Fusoya already has exit in his white magic arsenal, because otherwise we have to run the whole way out, and that's just no fun. And he does, so we are actually good to go. No, we aren't, because I actually forgot to grab the item. Let's run back in and get the item. I was so concerned about the exit that I forgot the item. Don't worry, I don't have to fight Dark Alpha again. I'm good. And it's a good thing I went back for that, because that is one of our 2 key items that we need in order to forge the crystal. So we do have the Legend Sword. We are just looking for the adamant now. So now we can once again exit with Fusoya. We are going to Black Chocobo our way back to the Chocobo Forest. And we are actually going to go ahead and check Mount Ordeals now. We don't really have much else we can do, so Mount Ordeals is going to open something else up to us. If not, we will have to scale the tower first. Or the more dreaded spots of Leviathan and Asura. We are playing with the K2 flag, which means that the Lunar Subterranean bosses and all the summons are included, which include Asura, Bahamut, Odin, and Leviathan. So, or I guess in Final Fantasy IV's case, Leviathan. But luckily, this is going to be a much easier battle with Kainazo, because, well, I'm a lot more powered up now. Lit 3 will probably kill him, actually. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of magic power and a weakness. That's pretty much a guarantee there. So we will finally get to go into the Dark Knight Cecil boss area. It's actually a nice reprieve. The only battle I really ever hate seeing here is the gauntlet, because it just takes so long. So Keinazo fell off, and we are now entering, and we will see what item we get, which is the important part about this, because, well, we don't have Tella or Cecil. And it's the Adamant, so hey, all we need to do now is find a pass or find a Dark Crystal, and we can actually just grind ourselves up to a good amount of HP, and then, oh, the Dark Imps are very nice here. But we can just grind ourselves up to a good amount of HP, and then we can go fight Zeramis. So, yeah. Actually could have been a much quicker seed, but hey, you know, we had some time to fill, so it was nice to run around a little bit. Alright, so Cecil became a paladin wherever he is. Tella's going to learn Meteor wherever he is. If we ever see them, we'll know that they can do that. Well, Tella still can't cast Meteor. He doesn't have the MP. But, so we're going to go ahead and head down and forge the crystal. And we are also going to buy Sirens, and we're going to do our leveling right now. I don't believe I will actually get to the point where I'm at 10 key items within a relatively good amount of time. And the reason that's one of the big things is because 10 key items actually doubles your experience. But being where I am right now, I don't think I'm actually that close. So we're just going to go ahead and level with what we have. And then we will continue to look for the pass. We will have to go climb up the tower because that is the easiest of the rest of the options that we have. We want to do that before we take on Asura or Leviathan spot. Luckily for us, we have the coffins now, which coffins do exactly what you would think. They cast death. Where are my coffins? Okay, I know I have coffins somewhere here. There they are. So basically, the amount of HP you really want to be at is around 2,000 is a good solid number. Typically, you're going to be higher than that with Yang and Sid. Fusoya is all based on bosses, so we know he will eventually get up there. Roses shouldn't have too much problem. The problem is Palom. And Palom will take a long time to grind up to that amount of HP. So we're going to get Palom to the point where he can use Nuke, and we're not really going to push him much after that. If we lose him in the battle against Zeramis, it is what it is. This may not actually be enough Sirens. We may have to go back for more in a little bit, but we'll go with what we have right now. If we end up getting the Dark Crystal before anything else, it will actually also be nice because we can do a little bit more grinding on the moon on the way. Do we have any updates on donation incentives or anything?
Yes, we actually do have a couple incentive updates. EI, who has a run for... my mind just blanked there. Hyper Mode Blue Revolver tomorrow has increased his challenge amount for missing level stars in PPT from $1 per star to $3 per star. We also have an additional incentive come in thanks to Space 006, who will donate an extra $50 if Boris and myself beat Mode B in Double Dragon tomorrow. It's not going to happen, but it's very generous of him to offer that. Old habits die hard, I'm told.
So I am using coffins until I can get to a good spot with my characters, at which point Yang will actually probably start doing enough damage to where you can take out the dragons in one hit without hatching them, which is really what we want. So we're once again surprised by an egg. I'm not sure exactly the rationale behind that, but... So now we have exhausted all of our coffins. We still have 6 sirens, so we will go ahead and use them. You can see Rosa sort of approaching that 2,000 mark. That is what we're really keeping an eye on right now. We are going to go ahead and not change form. We're going to go ahead and put Palom and Rosa in the back, as well as check something quick. Palom is at about 19 agility. I'm looking at their agilities because there is a base agility that you can use in the fight against Zeramis, and it actually helps you get the maximum amount of turns against him. So we do want to look at that to try to get one character at a good agility multiplier, which tends to be within or any multiple of 14, and doesn't tend to be, it is any multiple of 14. If Cecil would be in our party, he would automatically be that anchor, so you wouldn't have to worry about checking all the characters, but he's not, so we're going to check the other characters. And of course, we are not getting all the damage from Yang yet, so we're just going to virus with Fu, and that will be more than enough. So we have 4 more sirens here, and then we are going to make her climb up the tower and see where that leads us. Typically, you're going to have items start and end at certain checkpoints. There's certain items that will not allow you to progress any further, and a bunch of chain reactions. So we're hoping that we get the pass over the Dark Crystal. Dark Crystal would actually open up a lot of additional spots, so it isn't out of the realms of possibility of being that progression item. But we will have to see whatever it is, if it's even there. Otherwise, we will have to go to Leviathan and Asura. At this point, I think it's also safe to start just skipping Gang and just going right to Fu for the Venom. Just to skip the hatching animation. And then we also get snuck up on by eggs, which I don't know how that happens either. And of course that doesn't work either, because that's how this game goes. So another virus from Palom. Just 2 more sirens and then we will be on our way. And we're attacked from behind again. Alright, so one more, and then we will be able to go on. And if you actually notice, Rosa's HP is actually right within that range that we want it. Chances are she'll probably gain another level from the boss battles that we will be doing, so I would feel fairly comfortable right now with where we're at, even if we don't get Palom up to that HP pool that we want. Okay, so we will now go ahead and make her climb up the Tower of Babel. Do our save quick. Now we could take the time to check all these chests, but there's really no need. Outside of maybe a slightly better weapon for Fusoy or Rosa to use, like the Life Staff or the Stardust Rod. Nothing really too beneficial. We already have one Cat Claw on Yang, we have the Rune Axe on Sid, so we are pretty good there. Our Zarmus fight might take a little bit, but we should be fairly comfortable with it. If we did have the Tower Key, we would also be able to check that spot for a very, very easy boss battle and another key item, but we don't have it at this point, so of course there's nothing there. We will go ahead and save once again here. I don't know why I saved outside when I'm saving here, but we will go ahead and save here just in case we get one battle that we really don't want, like maybe Wyvern, which in its own right is special because I have the W2 flag on. But otherwise, well, this could be Wyvern. So I open my mouth and, well, we'll see. It is another one of our lunar enemies. Could be Wyvern, could be Plague, could be Pale Dim. So we will see in just a moment. And it's Plague. So Plague is interesting because he uses two moves. Count and Fast. Count does nothing. Fast is supposed to make us faster. It's supposed to make this drain faster, but it doesn't. I am also going to use a nice little strat here. That if Fu can't take him out in time, we're going to kill Palom and then revive him with Rosa, which will actually make Plague reset the counters. And there we go. So we're back to 10. It's great counting. And look, we're just going to do the same thing over again. Probably could just use life. It'd probably be easier. And there we go. Easy Plague fight. A lot of good experience. There's another Rosa level gain, and she learned White, which is always nice. Meteo, Heal, and Warp, and the Pan. So it is a progression item. We will be able to go smack Yang now. Everyone's favorite sound effect in all of Final Fantasy incoming. Unfortunately, we can't exit or warp or anything out of this tower. We actually have to walk the entire way back. Maybe good or bad programming, it is annoying nonetheless, but at least the music's good. Now, once we smack Yang with the pan, we will have to return to Sheila to give her back the pan, and that's when we'll receive our key item. We'll see if that is a key item that actually allows us to progress anywhere, or whether that is a dead end. Remember, we do have 2 spots still open that may or may not be where our progression lies, so we'll have to see. But first, we're going to do the easy stuff, and well, running through a cave is easy. So we'll run around as Fu for a little bit because we can, or we can just continue to change our characters like this. But everyone loves the mop, so we'll go ahead and make the old man run. And awesome sound in about 3, 2, 1. Soul Fairy here will give us an item, and it is the pass. So hey, look, we don't even need to return to Sheila. We got the pass. So we are actually ready for our battle with Zermus. Should be exciting. First of all, I do want to look at my statuses, just to look at my agilities. Nothing great for an anchor. Go figure. So we are going to make a quick pit stop in Typo because, well, they have some stuff we want. We already have some silk webs, but we also want some Bacchuses for Sid and Yang because they're going to be our 2 damage dealers. We'll also sell some stuff because, well, that makes it easier to navigate through our menus. Get rid of lip bolts, the firebomb, and that should be good. We didn't even need the moon veils. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll just purchase some silk webs because we can. Oh, how about I go forge the crystal now?
Getting multiple calls from chat to save.
I will save definitely before we get to that point. I'm not outside yet, so that's one area I actually always remember to save. So let's go forge the crystal because that would actually be a bad thing to go to Zermus without the crystal. You can't beat him. So yeah. Crystal's a good thing. We'll go grab it. So, to the smithy. See if he has anything good for us. No, not really. So I'll take my crystal. And now, the best flag that exists in this game is the Z flag. It is a flag that I feel should always be on. If you don't have it on, you're not really embracing the randomizer as much as it can be embraced, because the Z flag does one thing and one thing only, and that is alters the sprite of Zeramis to something random. So yeah, we get to see what that is very, very soon, hoping for something good because we always do. And we are going to go ahead and modify our equips right now because, well, we don't expect Palom to last long. So we will go ahead and give Fusoya the Lilith. give Rosa the Lunar. And actually, Palom needs... Palom is gonna go in unequipped with anything. We'll make him feel good about himself and give him a bow and arrows. And maybe an iron ring. So, we'll save once again. Move our items. And we should be good. So normally the pass would just lead you to a cool club, but in the randomizer, it actually allows you to escape the entirety of the moon and the lunar subterrane and everything else and go right to the Zeramis fight. Important thing to remember is if you go here via the pass, you cannot leave, so that's why it is important to save beforehand. So our crew is ready, and we have Zemus here. No one gets a turn, apparently. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna crystal. Our next move is going to be Silk Web, and I just realized that Fu is... I should have probably leveled up Fu a little bit more. But we'll go with what we have for now. And we have Bebasmus. Skull Kitty, shout outs to her. She does an amazing job with all these sprites. So we did get a big bang. We're going to be seeing a lot of those. Our whole goal is to survive these. The first one we did nerf, so that is not going to be a lot of damage. And then we're just going to use the Bacchuses to really put Sitting Cane into damage mode and hope that it gets us to where we need to be. The other thing with the virus is that, or with Big Bang, is it does sap our characters, so we do have to worry about that as well. But basically, the whole premise of this battle is going to be have them attack and just keep them healed. It may take a little bit because we only do have 2 attackers. But hopefully between Rosa and Fu, if Fu can manage to withstand a lot of these big bangs, we should be okay. Black Hole will remove those Bacchuses, so we will have to reapply them. Reflect strats, Black Holes are a lot more dangerous because you have to sort of time everything a little bit better. Just because if you don't, you will end up nuking or whiting your own character. So getting our Bacchuses reapplied, we're going to sit here on Fu because we knew we were getting that big bang almost and food did not survive it. So we are going to totally be relying on Rosa for our heals. So we'll not be doing anything else with her. Really, the big thing is to hope that we can withstand enough. The virus might... Nah, didn't do much, so we should be okay. Another black hole, so Yang and Sid will get one more attack in, and then we're going to have to reapply the boxes once again. But throughout this as well, at one point, you will actually reduce Zeramus's HP the entire way, but as a counter, he will completely refill his HP. If you use reflect strategies that I was talking about earlier, you will actually bypass those completely. So you won't have to worry about that refill. But other than that, you're just going to take the refill and then continue to progress him and just whittle away at his HP. Which is really the big thing about this battle is you can make it safe by going through and doing a strategy like I'm doing, where you're just healing with 2 attackers and hope for the best. You'll also see some very low HP strategies, which are a lot more insane. And in fact, if you're interested in watching one of those, definitely watch the run that's going to be going on at AGDQ in January, because this is going to be represented there. And yeah, 4 great runners. So we have our boxes back up. We're going to heal from this Big Bang once again. And for the most part, with the rolls that he's been getting on Rosa, I'm not too worried at all about this. About the worst thing that could happen would be Rosa running out of MP. Which, right now, she has about 4 casts left in her, so I would say that we might be in decent shape. And actually with that, I'm actually only going to use Cure 3 to help preserve some of these casts. So once again, another black hole. We'll have to go ahead and reapply our boxes. The nuke is kind of unwanted there. 1720 is a little bit more than I would want to take, but I should be able to get a cure off of Rosa, because Z will definitely shake to sort of reset his magic stat before he casts anything else on me. Okay, getting in a little bit better position now. Another big bang. We'll be able to get another heal off of Rosa. We'll make that a cure 4, so the characters can be back within a good HP amount. Hopefully Yang and Sid are getting Bebismus near where we want him, which is dead. Okay, another big bang, so we'll get another cure 4 up. we're okay on that roll. And just because we are starting to get close, time will actually be when you hear the basic end. You'll hear like a snap and you'll see a flash on the screen. That's when time is. And we are in the Medio phase, so we are right there now. Medio is basically the final moves that Zeramus will use. Actually, a lot less scary than any of the big bangs or anything else. So this is basically like home free for a lot of runners, as long as they are pretty healthy in terms of HP. They're not concerned with the Medio phase at all. Even with like 830 and stuff, we'll go ahead and just throw Bacchus back up to make this a little bit faster. But overall, we are right at the end here. Okay, we got Sid and Yang both Bacchus, so we're just gonna let them do their thing until we hear that final noise that says Beebus is down, and we'll just shake for a long time. And there it is. So that is time.
1:40:35.
Yeah, not bad. Considering the early death and everything, and the 3-person strategy on Zeramus there. But yeah, that's Final Fantasy Free Enterprise. If this is something new to you and it is something that interests you, it is on ff4fe.com, Final Fantasy 4 freeenterprise.com. Definitely a good community, as are a lot of the randomizer communities. So definitely check them out. But yeah, that's going to do it for me today for Super Stigma Slam. So yeah, I believe Pepsi Man is up next. So, oh, okay. We have Pringles. Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Crim. We've got the snack block coming up. And while Zeramus is doing the 100% screen shake, we're going to get set up for that. So one moment, please.